Hey, Brigham with Drift here. In this video, we're talking about the 2024 Nitro Alternator. This is a board, when I first saw it, it just really grabbed my interest for some reason. Classic shape, full camber. Their guys are obviously shredding on this thing. I just really wanted to see what it was like, so I'm excited to tell you about it. Check out my specs and my biases below so you know where I'm coming from. And here we go. The first thing that I think you should know about this board, this is an aggressive full camber board for charging hard. As soon as you get on it, you can tell at slow speeds, it's pretty twitchy. I'd say messing around on it, you know, trying to butter around, do spins and stuff like that. Honestly, that kind of stuff was just scary. And at slower speeds, it felt, like I said, pretty twitchy. Basically, the faster I went and the harder I rode, the better this thing felt. And, you know, that's kind of the way that this thing wants to be ridden. Number two, despite that, it's not crazy stiff. I would say for a free ride board, it's kind of middle of the road. And it has a really nice balance of dampness and poppiness. It wasn't the dampest thing in the crud, but it charges through stuff pretty well. And again, hitting side hits and stuff like that, not the poppiest thing, but does good. So really nice, kind of middle of the road. I was super impressed for a full camber board with how this floated. I rode it pretty close to the reference stance and had quite a bit of fresh pow one of the days that I tried it. And it floats pretty well, especially again when you're going fast and it's steep. Fourth thing, it also holds a great carve, kind of what you would expect with this full camber. I was pushing it really pretty hard. There were times when I thought for sure I was going to lose my edge, and I never did. The fifth thing I would share, it's really the only downside for me, and I'm not sure how helpful this is going to be, but the whole time I rode this, I dealt with a little bit of kind of like a weird, kind of twitchy feeling that to me manifested like it was a little bit too narrow. Like that was my thought as I was riding. It was just like, this is rad, but it's just a little too narrow for me. And I was a little worried about the width when I purchased it. It's kind of like right at the limit of what I typically would ride, usually for something more of like a park freestyle board. And typically for a freeride board, I would like this to be, you know, wider than it is. And I would still prefer a little more width, about half a centimeter, maybe even a whole centimeter more for me. But I measured it, and underfoot, it is the same as some other boards that I really like and that I feel good on, like the Jones Aviator. It's about exactly the same under my rear foot. But for some reason with this, I felt like I was like too far over the toe edge a lot, and it kind of just gave this twitchiness that I didn't like. I'm not really sure what to attribute that to. I tried a few different bindings, different binding setups, and I still felt it. So if you have any bright ideas, let me know. It's not really a useful complaint, but it's kind of my only one. So I think that this is a phenomenal all-around board for someone who wants to go full gas all the time. If you're not going full gas all the time, you're not charging hard, going big, hitting everything on the mountain, I would definitely look at something else. And then if you're interested in this, but your foot's bigger than like an 11.5, it might be a little too narrow, which I kind of feel like Nitro as a whole, most of the boards that I look at, like kind of size me out on the width. But other than that, rad board. That's the Nitro Alternator. Thanks for watching, and hit me up if you have any comments or questions.